I attended my daughter's funeral without being able to sort out my thoughts. My 27-year-old daughter had suddenly passed away. As I stared blankly at her house, my 4-year-old grandson pulled on my skirt and murmured a shocking phrase. And my daughter's mother-in-law, who was nearby, listening to those words, turned pale. Her tragic end was just beginning. I'm Tina, a 50-year-old housewife, and I work part-time at a local diner. I have a daughter named Lauren. She got married to her husband Keith when she was 21. At first, she lived with her in-laws, but she couldn't get along with her mother-in-law. So they live separately now. No grandchildren yet, Lauren. How many years has it been since you got married? You are really useless. You are not fulfilling your role as a daughter-in-law. It seems that she was repeatedly blamed by her mother-in-law about children until her grandson Alex was born. Furthermore, you can't have children because you are always working. Kid you? Don't neglect your housework because of work. At that time, my daughter and her husband were both working, but she was also burdened with housework at her in-laws' house. Moreover, it seems that she was even nagged about the details of housework. I want to be recognized as a good daughter-in-law, you know? Although she was enthusiastic about it when she started living with them. As time went on, she began to complain more and more. No matter what I do, my mother-in-law complains. I mean, she should just do it herself. Her in-law's house was a 5-hour flight from where I lived. I felt frustrated that I couldn't rush to my daughter when she's in need. Lauren, honey, if it's too tough, come back here once in a while. You need to take a break from your job as a daughter-in-law too, you know? Thank you, Mom, but I'm okay. Sorry to worry you. Can I talk to you about my complaints again sometime? I couldn't say anything more to my daughter who said that. After that, I was often told about her mother-in-law's complaint by Lauren. But as the physical distance couldn't be shortened, I also thought about how to support my daughter mentally. And I also gradually began to feel uncomfortable with her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law hated it extremely when Lauren came home to our place. She even called me directly. Lauren is our daughter-in-law. And yet, she told me she wants to go back to your place for a while for Thanksgiving. Please be sure to warn her too. Would you? What? But Lauren is also our daughter. So, can't we allow meeting her a few times a year? Lauren is doing well here, you know. Do you really need to meet her so often? Even if I tried, the answer from her mother-in-law was always one-sided. I thought it wouldn't be good to argue too much, considering Lauren's petition, so I ended up going along with her mother-in-law's opinion. However, Lauren's husband convinced his mother. Even if you say she's doing well over here, it's obvious that they want to meet her every once in a while. Didn't you always tell me that you were lonely and wanted us to come back here to live with you? Remember? We somehow managed to get permission for a few visits home per year. Wow! She even called you? I'm sorry, Mom. I really want to build a good relationship with her, but the day after her mother-in-law's contact, Lauren contacted me with a voice full of apologies. No, don't be sorry, honey. I couldn't do anything for you either. I had such frustrating conversation with my daughter many times. Then one day, Lauren contacted me saying that her mother-in-law was angry because I didn't send her a return gift or present. Huh? I haven't received anything from your husband's family, even once. And yet she demands such things from me? What is that? I would surprised then raise my voice. Really? I knew something was off. I don't understand anything that my mother-in-law's saying or doing anymore. Lauren's voice over the phone showed signs of exhaustion. Well, I'll try. I will hurry and send something. But you should definitely discuss it properly with your husband. I told Lauren that and hung up. About 2 years had passed since Lauren started living with her in-laws when she contacted me again. The relationship with her just can't seem to improve. I think it's better for me not to be around her. Keith feels the same way too. So, we decided to live separately from my in-laws. Apparently, Lauren's husband also judged that he couldn't handle his mother and decided to move out. Well, even if we say we're living separately, it's still within walking distance. I felt relieved when I heard Lauren's laughing voice over the phone. Then, about a year after Lauren and her family left their in-laws' home, I've received the news that she was pregnant with her first child. I was happy to hear the news, but secretly thought that the stress of living with her in-laws may have been a factor in Lauren not getting pregnant until now. Lauren gave birth to a healthy baby boy named Alex. However, her mental state began to deteriorate rapidly due to her mother-in-law's overbearing nature. At the suggestion of her husband, when Alex was 2 years old, they came to live with us for several years. Lauren was so mentally exhausted that she had become quite thin. I deeply regretted that I had not been able to do anything for her until then. After a while, Alex, who had started to speak a little, began to say strange things. "Granny, the man with the injured eye is not here today." "Well, what, Alex?" "That man with the line in his eye." Alex pointed to his own right eye and asked me about it. The truth is, my father, who passed away, lost his vision in his right eye and had a scar from an accident at work when he was young. My father passed away when I was young, and the pictures were kept at my parents' house. So even Lauren didn't know about the scar. At first, I thought it was a coincidence, but his bizarro stories continued many times. The man with the injured eye looks real sad. It's saying his house is about to break down. I told my mother about this. Later, we received a report that the stone on my father's grave had been broken by someone or something. From then on, I felt that maybe Alex had a sixth sense. Lauren seemed to have the same perspective, but she didn't pay much attention to it. I wonder who Alex inherited it from. 2 years passed, and Lauren's mental and physical condition began to recover. So they returned to her in-laws' house. However, she still received a bunch of sarcasm from her mother-in-law. "What a terrible woman you are! Taking away my grandson who is the heir. From now on, I will raise Alex in her house." Thankfully, Lauren's husband and father-in-law, her mother-in-law, was restricted in contact with them. So she seemed to be able to spend a more comfortable life than before. However, tragedy struck suddenly. One day, out of nowhere, Lauren's husband contacted me and told me that Lauren had fallen down the stairs and died. This news was hardly believable. However, when I rushed to the hospital, she had already become cold, and I had to accept the reality. Soon after, the funeral was held. And of course, Lauren's husband, Alex, and her mother-in-law attended. I managed to maintain my composure and exchanged a greeting with her mother-in-law. But falling down the stairs? Was she not paying attention? With her words, I couldn't even think of her as a human being. And I didn't have the energy to argue back. "Mom, how can you say that even at a time like this?" Lauren's husband also heard his mother's words and accused her furiously, but she seemed completely indifferent. Then she said to him, who was holding Alex, "Why don't you watch him carefully instead? Don't let him say anything creepy like he always does." Mom, cut it out! Lauren's husband was clearly upset with his mother. "Excuse me, I'm going to step out for a bit. Can you take care of Alex for a while?" Lauren's husband entrusted me with Alex and forcefully took his mother outside the venue. Alex seemed unable to comprehend that his mother had passed away, and I was doing my best to hold back tears. "Granny, why do you look so sad? Mommy's worried about you." Alex looked at my face with a worried expression. I felt tears that I had been holding back quietly overflow. "Alex, sweetheart, is Mommy here?" "Yeah, she was behind you until a little while ago. She's with Grandma now, over there, with Daddy." Saying that, Alex pointed to where Lauren's husband and mother-in-law. "Mommy said Grandma pushed her on the stairs." "Huh?" As soon as I heard Alex's words, all the attendees turned their attention to us. Alex, don't say things like that." Lauren's mother-in-law looked pale at his words, and I could see she was flustered. "Alex, can you tell me the story about Mommy later?" I spoke to Alex to calm the situation down. After the funeral was over, I returned to Lauren's home with Alex and talked to him slowly. Meanwhile, the mother-in-law was taken to the in-laws' house. "Well, Alex, can you tell me the story now?" "Mommy's story? Sure, let's go to my room. Mommy's saying something good is in my room." Alex led me to his room, holding my hand with a cheerful expression. "That thing over there, can you take it for me?" And looking around the room, Alex pointed the box. Upon checking the contents, there were a small camera and recorder inside. According to Lauren's husband, Alex seemed to be talking to someone even though he was alone, and he would stare intently at nothing. Lauren found it interesting and installed a sound-detecting camera and recorder. "Alex, do you know what this is for?" "No, but Daddy knows, right?" With Lauren's husband, we nervously confirmed the contents. On the camera, we saw Lauren's mother-in-law breaking into Alex's room, disregarding Lauren's protests. The two women were clearly arguing, and although the stairs were out of sight, the recorder captured her voices and a loud thud. The content was so shocking that I fainted on the spot. I woke up in the hospital, and Lauren's husband explained what happened afterward. Right after I fainted, he immediately contacted the police and submitted the audio and video recordings. The police had been investigating Lauren's accident, and along with the recordings from Alex's room, Lauren's mother-in-law was investigated and arrested a few days later. I took care of Alex for a while, and he seemed to be having a great time at her place. Lauren's husband later told me that his mother had suffered a mental breakdown and was currently in a state of confusion. If only that child hadn't said anything. At that pitch, she should go to hell. She eventually became unresponsive during police questioning. When she found out that Lauren was alone that day, she stormed into her house and got into a fight. They struggled, and she ended up pushing Lauren down the stairs. Lauren was still alive when her mother-in-law left the house. However, Lauren couldn't get up on her own and passed away shortly after. I'm sorry for being so useless. That day, I went out with Alex to give Lauren a break, but I never expected my mother to show up. I can't. I'm sorry. Lauren's husband apologized to me while crying, and I could only listen in shock without being able to sort out my own feelings. Then Alex, who was watching me closely, came over and petted my head. "Granny, Mommy told me to do this. She said she can't touch you, but I can." He looked at me with a smile. I hugged Alex and cried for a long time before finally gathering my thoughts. Lauren's mother-in-law was taken to the police station, and her hallucinations seemed to have subsided. So there were no legal issues related to her mental state. She was found guilty and became a resident on the other side of the wall. Lauren's husband had to explain the situation to his company, and as a result, he was able to transfer to a neighboring state where I live. While he worked, I took care of Alex. I know you don't want to see me, but for Alex's sake, would you allow me to live nearby? He said this and I agreed. Keith, when you find someone new, I'll take care of Alex for you, so don't worry, okay? Thank you, but Lauren is my only wife. I will work my hardest for her sake and raise Alex into a fine human being. As for me, I had enough savings from my late husband's inheritance to live comfortably. I spent my days enjoying time with my grandson. As for Alex, he no longer said strange things like he did before. Whenever I ask him about it, he just says, "I don't know." That's all he says. Alex seemed to be enjoying himself with his new friends every day. I still think about my daughter Lauren and cry until my tears run out when I'm alone at night. But for Alex's future, I want to love him as much as I would have loved Lauren.